Pathmonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add Pathmonk to your website in seconds, let the AI do all the work, and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Rishi, Growth Manager with Teqtivity. How are you doing today, Rishi?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on today's show. Really curious and, a little bit, what is it all about? What is Teqtivity all about? Let's start off with that, in your own words, Rishi, what is Teqtivity?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, by the way. But Teqtivity is an ITAM startup. We provide tools for organizations to become and remain compliant, as well as we offer smart vending solutions. Let's see. We are based in LA, but we maintain a global presence with our operations. Now, IT asset management, or ITAM, as you would hear me refer to throughout this, it's a core function of every IT organization. And its main goals is to manage assets like laptops, peripherals, software licenses, whether they're tangible or intangible. These items need to be accounted for, deployed, maintained, disposed of correctly, and in compliance with ISO and other industry standards. That's where Teqtivity comes in. We bring a new age of thinking to ITAM and the implementation of an ITAM tool in order to equip organizations with better, clean, more scalable data that they can use for actionable insights throughout the organization. Let's see. Our solutions, they have capabilities to integrate with your full tech stack, like your service management tools, your procurement tools, security platforms. All of this we do to create a single source of truth. So what our goal is with Teqtivity is to make sure that it's a single source of truth for every IT organization. Now, at its core, that is how all ITAM tools should work, but it's quite a logistical nightmare and it's costly too, right? With development to get to that level of a single source of truth. So with Teqtivity, this is how we're breaking the mold, right? We aim to provide as many of these tools, integrations, workflows as out-of-box functionality in order to decrease the ongoing headaches and costly, friction that occurs within the industry to create a single source of truth. And because of this, Teqtivity, we carry a heavy focus on our customers and our products. So we're constantly building and innovating to be better for our current and future customers. That's a little bit about us.
Right. Awesome. That's great to hear. And so maybe our audience, our listeners can get a better understanding. So is it fair to say, you say goodbye to spreadsheet chaoses and you help with, cost savings, real-time control, automation, or what would you say is a key problem that you guys solve?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So given the necessity of ITAM in every organization, yes, the main thing, the most common one we see is that people are using spreadsheets, right? But the problem that we really solve for, it's twofold. Teqtivity as an organization itself and our products, we have a unique solution, right? And the solution itself solves industry and organizational problems. So industry-wise, there are a lot of nuisances and barriers of entry that make it really difficult for someone to implement an ITAM tool, especially if they're a small or medium business. This is where you see those spreadsheets come into play. And as that company grows with spreadsheets, it gets really complicated. There's a lot of ITAM failures that happen, right? These problems are the cost of ongoing maintenance, paywalling for new features, and of course pricing, right? These barriers of entry make it really difficult for small to medium organizations to implement a tool that they need. But quite frankly, it sucks because they're not able to access a tool just because of cost. Where, people just they end up saying, hey, it's just easier to operate without it, or, and that's when they run into a lot of problems. But for us, we know that ITAM is such a vital part of scaling. So we completely get rid of those barriers, right? We make it easy for everyone. We make it accessible regardless of your size. So like one example of how we do that is we flipped it on its head where we don't do an asset volume pricing, where we focus more on a user-based pricing. So regardless of the amount of assets you have within your organization, we actually care about the people that are getting value out of it, right? People that are getting value out of Teqtivity. Organizationally, yes, like you were saying, the lack of visibility is a big thing. Overspending is a big thing. Lack of automation is a big thing in these places, right? Which are things you see when you use manual tools like spreadsheets. Those are things of the platform itself. It's very smart in which it can handle those tasks, take your spreadsheets, convert them into actionable insights at a glance, and being able to combine you with your other tools like your HR tools, your HiBobs, your Bamboo HR, or endpoint MDM solutions like Jamf and Kanji, or even like service desk tools like ServiceNow and Zendesk. Being able to combine all of those, you create that single source of truth. So that's really the big problem that we solve for. That problem exists because all of these things operate independently within one IT department. And because of that lack of visibility, they don't have enough information to make actionable decisions. So that's what Teqtivity does. It brings all of those into one place, and just the robust reporting that we have, just automatically better visibility on how you're spending, where you're spending, and just how to budget better.
Definitely, that's great to see. Now, I am checking here your website, and to get a better understanding of who your segment vertical is, because I do see here, Uber, Turo, Legal, Carless, so fintech, cars, or what vertical would you say you guys like to go after?
Yeah, so because of the nature of where ITEM is, we are industry agnostic when it comes to that. But we do see that our tool is most utilized in fintech, like you mentioned, healthcare, e-commerce, transportation, and even just software development. A lot of times we see those areas that have heavy regulation, that have a heavy necessity on privacy and data and things like that. Those are where ITEM tools are usually more beneficial. But we are industry agnostic. We don't have a specific vertical. We want to help everyone, but to many people as we can.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Great to hear. And you being the growth manager there, Rishi, what does a top client acquisition channel look for you guys?
Yeah, no. So actually, this might be quite surprising, but our audience typically finds us through our integration channels. So we have about 45 integrations currently. So things like Zendesk, Jamf, we're listed on their marketplaces as plugins and so on. People that are customers of those services already, they tend to find us through there. So historically, that has been our top acquisition channel, right? Then we also have our website. Our website does really well. And of course, our sales and marketing team does a lot of heavy lifting. But historically, our website and our integration channels have proven to bring the bag home, really. But this is changing. We're putting a lot more resources into our sales, partnership, and expansion functions. But historically, yes, channels have been good for us.
That's great to hear. And talking about your website, you guys can visit them at teqtivity.com. What role does a website play for your client acquisition?
Oof, this is a great question. Let's see. So our website, it definitely plays an integral role with our customer acquisition strategy, right? And it's probably one of the lowest numbers in our customer acquisition cost portfolio, given the returns that we've seen from it, right? This is mainly because of what we focus on. And let me think about this. But we want to educate our customer or future customers to make the best decision possible without coercion, right? Coercion is so common in our industry, and we've seen many organizations unable to maintain the systems that they've been baited into choosing, which down the line leads to ITAM failures, right? And that's very painful. Every time we see a customer come by that is like, hey, we had the system, this is what happened. That sucks. We don't wish that on anyone. But every ITAM solution out there, they sell their same core products. But our website, we focus on educating the customer about not only how we can solve their ITAM issues in their organization, but also how we can support their organization after they've implemented a tool like ours, right? And we've seen a great conversion rate on that. We're very transparent about what we offer, how we offer it, through things like blogs and infographics and so on. But we want our customers to have all the tools to make the best decision possible, even if that's not us for them, right? We would like them to make the best decision possible. The second thing about, probably the ease of access too, right? We pride ourselves on being accessible to our clientele. So making it easy for them to access those materials and not overcomplicating it. I mean, give them the tools, give them the options to contact you. Simple things like that. And that is what converts our website into such a good source for our lead generation.
Definitely. All right. Awesome. Awesome to hear that. Now, as far as 2023, when there was a lot of talk about AI and trends, was there any tools or method that you guys were starting to use in this year after this huge AI year?
Yes. I wouldn't say specifically any AI tools. There are some items within the existing softwares that we have that have AI components now, which we're slowly getting into. But are you mentioning in terms of the website or in general on Teqtivity?
Yeah, I mean, it could be in general with Teqtivity. It could be as far as the website lead generation. Just I mean, it was a huge year for AI in terms of how it had a boom. So people started using it in different ways. Just wanted to see, curious if there at Teqtivity you guys used it in any sort of way.
Yeah, so not AI specifically, but yes, you did touch on something that's like a trend that has been happening, right? We're moving away from personal connections, and especially through websites, it tends to be like really, really cold, right? So having moved away from that, something that we did is when I joined Teqtivity, our lead capture was very SaaS typical, and a big problem in the sales organization at Teqtivity at the time was no-shows. So my biggest challenge is like, how do I address this? Obviously, I'm not a fan of no-shows. Not that them definitely is. But I mean, I see this mistake all the time, where websites focus heavily on lead capture, but then they put them through submitting a form and waiting a few hours or maybe sometimes days. And I could never understand that. And that's the trend I also see happening with AI right now. It's like, yes, it does make it a lot easier, but it takes away that personal connection that quite frankly, I think people need. I mean, sales psychology, it teaches us that buyers want to buy when they're interested, right? So if someone's browsing your website, there's some kind of interest, right? So why put them through something like that? That's what I call dead time, that time in between someone submits a form and when you get back to them. And it's quite frankly the difference between the interest they had for your organizations and your competitor. So how do you bridge that gap, right? So my opinion, I mean, organizations, especially SaaS, we need to make it easier for prospects to get access to you, right? So whether that's integrated some kind of AI chatbot tool or, just make a way for them to ask their questions on their terms, right? Give them options. Keep the SaaS typical lead gen form. We love the forms, but also give them an opportunity to book a call, speak to someone live, right? I think a good combination is healthy and to not just move away from one to the other. And trust me when I say this will save your sales team a lot of time with weeding out uninterested MQLs or, MQLs. I mean, in the world of disconnect, a conversation can change everything in a deal, right? So the tip here is, I mean, it's twofold. Invest in that interaction, right? If it's an AI chatbot or let the prospects ask questions in real time, right? Give them the answers that they want. Don't make them wait for it, right? And I mean, the second one, and this one is really how we decrease the amount of no-shows for us, add a calendar to your website. If somebody's on there, they're looking for something. And if they're at that point of like, they're really interested, give them the option to book a demo right away. I think that's a big thing that decreased our no-shows automatically. I mean, you saved yourself, 5 touches there? I mean, with that prospect, you already have a higher chance of closing that deal, right? And just because they're interested to book a time to speak and they have that option to do it, right? Otherwise, I feel like you're missing out on the great opportunities because if they're waiting for you to get back to them, they'll go to a competitor as well. They're clearly doing research, right? To give them the option, make it easy, give them a combination, use AI, but don't forget about the good old conversation tools that make things work better.
Definitely. All right. Awesome to hear that from you, Rishi. Let's switch gears a little bit for our listeners and talk about you as a leader, growth manager there with Teqtivity. What are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this one. but so as a growth manager, I mean, my role extends over growth, revenue, and customer success. So naturally, my day tends to be a mix of those. But I mean, simply, I am focused on building new strategies for growth and how we can optimize our existing strategies, tools, processes to increase our outputs against our metrics, right? These functions are all fairly new to Teqtivity, so we're very much in build and test mode. So there's a lot of that happening right now. Like, for example, with our revenue team, I'm focused on making sure we're aiming in the right direction with validating our value propositions, establishing proper ICPs and making sure they're enabled we're building the systems for scale, right? Those are some of the key tasks within revenue, I would say. But customer success is our newest function, which I'm building out right now. The goal with our customer success function is to make our customers' lives easier, right? Increase interaction. And of course, for us, reduce retention. So key tasks that I operate with there, more things like QBRs, working with our customers, a lot of customer meetings, I would say, just really understanding what they want, really understanding where they're coming from, what their goals are, and how we can support that as an organization. But I think overall, this quarter, I've been focused a lot on pipeline optimization. Like, how do we do this better? We're launching a new product soon. So like, how do we do more with less, essentially, right? Where can we reduce? Where can we automate? So a lot of the out-of-box thinkings like that.
But it sounds like, right, every day can be something different. So it's always, every quarter there's going to be a new challenge, and you're tackling it very good.
No 2 days are the same. I'll tell you that.
But let's jump into the section. It's a rapid fire question round. Listen, like to it. So you ready, Rishi?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. First off, what is the last book that you read?
Oh, the last book that I read. It's Your Ship. It's Your Ship. There's a longer title to it, but it's by Captain Michael Asperoff. Yeah, that's the book.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. What is one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment the most?
Right now, we're focused on our go-to-market. So our product was introduced in early stages. So right now, our current product, we're reinventing the wheel on it. So we're making sure that it's going to market right in order for us to prepare for a new product launch that's coming out. So that's a big focus for us right now. So getting everything in place, so when that launches, we do it correctly. It's a big focus.
All right. Now, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Oh my God. This is such a good question. This would be like real-time analytics or like ability to pivot. The biggest challenge I see in growth is that we're always playing catch up with the market, right? Always playing catch up with trends. We have to make a lot of risky moves, especially when adapting to a new trend, right? So spending so much time on research, testing, validation, sometimes for trends that don't even last that long, right? I don't want to say it's a waste of time, but I wish we had something that we could have real-time analytics on market trends, user behavior, sales opportunities, so we can pivot faster and just recuperate much faster, right? It's a very dynamic market. That's a wish for sure.
Definitely. All right. Now, we were talking about your day-to-day work. Everything changes. So I'm still curious, right? Is there a repetitive task that you still have to do that you could automate? What would that be?
Yeah, quite frankly, yeah, there is. There's quite a few things, but I think the biggest one right now, we're a startup, right? So there's a lot of individual contribution that goes into many parts of the org. Updating assets and collateral. We have many moving parts. Things are progressing. We have new content every quarter, every week. There's new things, and updating our assets and collateral, it's something I wish I can just click a button and get that done.
All right. And love asking this question. What is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
That's a good one. Hold on. I thought about this recently. So I guess the advice here would be to become customer centric earlier than I did in my career now. And just continue to be as customer centric as possible, right? My opinion, this is the secret sauce for growth, and I'm finding that out more recently. If you really listen to your customers, you'll know what to build and how to do it. They tell you, they're using the product. They'll tell you what to do, right? I think investing time in customer research, that feedback loop, building that experience evaluation, things like NPSs and so on, right? Invest in that customer success function, right? I did that later on in Teqtivity, but probably looking back is something I would have done, should have done earlier. I think having a deep understanding of your customers, it'll guide your marketing strategies. It'll guide, and it'll definitely contribute to your long-term success. But there's so much knowledge, overwhelming amounts of content out there that marketers always try to jump at. Of course, we do. It's natural, right? But there is value in that. But there's also so much value in talking to your customers. I believe like being customer-centric is so important because they should be your primary source for market validation. So I would definitely become customer-centric more early on in my career. I could have gotten really good at it by now.
Definitely great advice there. Well, Rishi, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I do want to give you the last word. So if everyone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about Teqtivity?
Yeah, the one thing they should remember about Teqtivity, is I think the fact that we're here trying to provide a solution to people and organizations that otherwise wouldn't have access to it. We're here to make it easy. It's not the typical ITAM solution that you know. It's not the typical ITAM implementation that you know. It's our whole goal is to make it as easy as possible for everybody to get access to a tool to manage their assets better.
Definitely awesome. Great to hear that, Rishi. Well, guys, for our listeners, if you guys want to check them out, go to teqtivity.com. IT assessed management made easy. Rishi, thank you so much for being on with us today. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and looking forward to our next episode at PathMonk Presents. Thanks, Rishi.
Yeah, love it. Thanks, Ernesto.